Does your car rough idle? Or does it splutter a bit when you're driving along? Well, I did a bit of research and I may have found one of the answers to your problem. In this video, I'm going to show you how to remove the throttle body and give it a clean. If that's too dirty, that might be causing some ear issue. Just remember, if you find this video helpful, give it a like. If you hear any barking during the video, it's because of my lovely puppy Sarge. He's a German Shepherd with a huge play drive. Some of the tools you may need for this job are a 1/4 inch socket set with a extension bar, a 7mm socket, an 8mm socket, the ratchet. You also may need a long flat blade screwdriver, the throttle body cleaner itself, a calibrated stick. Well, you might be wondering what that's for. Make sure you watch the video all the way to the end so that way you can see what I use the calibrated stick for. A toothbrush to get those bits of grit and grime out that you can't exactly do with your finger. And just a whole bunch of rags just because it's going to be a bit of a messy job. So make sure you wear gloves if you're going to be using the throttle body cleaner. I won't be wearing them because I'm doing a bit of camera work, but I'm going to be washing my hands thoroughly afterwards and put barrier cream on so that way it doesn't affect my skin. But these type of chemicals can damage your skin, so make sure you use the correct PPE while doing these jobs. All right, let's get straight into this. First thing I'm going to do is remove the intercooler hose. You need to undo the hose clamps at both the top of the hose and the bottom of the hose. What you want to do first is undo the hose clamp that's on the intercooler pipe. That way you can remove the bottom of the intercooler pipe with ease. Then you can focus on the top half. Now that I've done the hose clamps, I've slid them back. I undid them enough just so that way they're not completely undone, but just enough so they're loose. I'm going to go ahead and remove the pipe. Now that I've removed it, you probably can't see, but there's a bit of oil and gunk just in the bottom of the pipe. I'm going to be spraying this out and getting rid of all the excess fluid that's in there. Make sure your vehicle's cold while you're doing this. That way you're not going to burn your hands and it doesn't harden the material while you're spraying it. Now I've got the pipe removed, I'm going to go ahead and remove the throttle body itself. It's just 4 bolts around. They're 8mm head. Once I disconnect the throttle body itself, I'm going to be removing the electrical connector just because it's easier to access it once it's off the unit. Now I'm going to go ahead and remove the electrical connector. It's not too hard to remove. Just press down on the sides. And it just pulls away. And that's the throttle body removed. As you can see, mine's not too dirty, but that's because I know I've cleaned it recently. If you haven't cleaned it for 100,000 kilometers, you're going to find there's going to be a lot of sludge and a lot of build-up inside. The one thing to be careful of is when you're removing the throttle body, there's an O-ring that runs around here. Just be careful that it's not sticking and you don't want to damage it as you remove it. While I've got the throttle body off, I'm going to have a quick look inside the rest of the intake to see how much carbon's built up inside the rest of the intake. So I know I've cleaned this recently, so there's not too much build up in there. But what I'm going to do is get some of the throttle body cleaner, spray it on a rag, and give it a wipe out inside to get what I can. If you want to see how to remove the intake and give it a clean, subscribe to my channel so that way when I make the video, you can see that how easy it is to pull it apart and give it a clean. But you'll have to subscribe to the channel and hit that little bell notification so that way you can see when the video gets released. I'm just going to be using a screwdriver and a rag and the spray. I'm going to give it a rough clean, nothing too particular, because I'm going to be taking it off and filming how to clean it soon. As you can see, it's removed some of the carbon buildup. So yeah, you don't have to do anything too particular unless you're going to pull it all apart and do it that way. While I'm here, I'm just going to use a rag and just wipe around the front just to give it a general clean. I'm using WD Specialist Automotive Throttle Body Cleaner. I'll leave a link in the description so you can purchase this if you want. It'll be delivered straight to your door. Now I'm going to go ahead and clean the throttle body. You might want to use a toothbrush if there's too much carbon buildup, but I'm just going to be using a rag. Because it's off, you can get in there and give it a good scrub. So now you'll see me go ahead and clean. I like to use a white rag so that way I can see if there's anything left when I when I finish. You can see on one of the places there's quite a build up bit of grime, so you might need to use a toothbrush for that kind of stuff. So now you can see that the throttle body's been cleaned. Look, I haven't done a 100% perfect job, but I've got 95% of the gunk off that was there. Now I'm going to go ahead and clean the intercooler pipe. I'm going to go ahead and spray down the hose and see how much stuff comes out of it. Also, you may notice that I'm working on top of a garbage bin. For me, this is the perfect height, though I don't have to bend over or anything like that, and it doesn't matter if it gets dirty. Because not much came out of the pipe when I run spray down it, I'm going to stuff a rag in and just run it through a few times just to try and get out as much as I can. What I'm going to do is use my calibrated stick to run the rag through. Now I've cleaned out the intercooler pipe as good as I can, it's time to reassemble. What I'm going to start by doing is put the electrical connector back on and then put the bolts in. So that just clips on. There's a special pattern that you can't get it wrong, so it literally just clips in one way. And that just pushes in. Then you just want to drop it into place, line it up roughly, and then just start to do your bolts hand tight. Don't do them up tight all the way to start with. Just get them all in place first before you start worrying about doing them up. The hardest bolt to get, it's not overly hard, is the one down the bottom corner just because there's so much stuff in the way. Now they're all lined up ready to go, I'm just going to use the extension bar and the socket just to nip them up just a little bit before I use the ratchet. Now I'm going to go ahead and use the ratchet. Make sure you do them up diagonally so that way it distributes the pressure evenly. So be careful not to cross thread the bolts, otherwise it'll cause you a whole bunch of other dramas. Now I'm just going to go around and do a double check to make sure all the bolts are tight. That bolt there wasn't tight, so that's why I always double check. Now that they're all tight, I'm going to get a rag and give a wipe out to the inside just to make sure that I haven't left any residue or anything inside. Remember to subscribe so that way you can see when I do the video of the rest of the intake. Also that way you can see my other how-to videos on the Ford Ranger, Mazda BT50, and just my general specific videos on car maintenance. Now what I'm going to do, go ahead and put the pipework back together. Also, if a lot of the products say that you can spray this while it's on and just clean it out, I personally don't like to do that because it's just going to flush the stuff back into the system. I'd rather remove it rather than push it through. I'm going to start by putting this bottom mount back in properly. Just going to double check with the rag to make sure there's no build up inside it. There's only a little bit, not much. So this is where you want to start just to make your life that little bit easier. So get your orientation of your pipe roughly lined up and you want to try and jiggle it on. It's a bit of a tight space, so it could be a little bit difficult, but this seems to be going on okay. I'm not going to tighten the bottom screw yet. I'm going to be putting in the top hose first, so that way I can still manipulate the pipe to get it to fit where I want. Now I've got the top pipe on, I'm going to do that up. You just want to do it up till it's firm, the hose clamp's in the right location. Now I'm going to proceed to do the bottom one. Now I'm going to go ahead and tighten up the bolt so that way the intercooler pipe's back on tight and you're not going to get any air loss from a loose pipe. This is why you want to use a long screwdriver or a 7mm socket with a long extension bar so that way it's easy to get down there and you're not going to hurt your knuckles. Now I've done up the intercooler pipe, I'm just going to give it a slight tug to make sure that it's all connected. I'm After putting it all back together, make sure you start your engine and you can feel how much smoother it'll be if this is your issue. Remember, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up so that way other people can see it's a great video and they're going to learn something from it. Make sure you subscribe to my channel so that way you can see my other maintenance videos, how-to videos, and any other videos I put out in the future, and hit that bell. That way you get notified when the videos get released. If you've got any other questions, just leave them in the comment section. Let me know how this video went. Feel free to leave a comment on what videos you want to see in the future. If you want to hit that subscribe button in the top right hand corner, go ahead, hit it if you haven't already. Also, if you want to see my other how-to videos, click the playlist in the top left hand corner. That way it'll take you straight to and you can see what range is out there. Thank you for watching.